Good morning, good afternoon, good time of the day to all of our audience. Thanks for being with us today. We're here today to discuss choosing your first or next SIEM. Well, it's not a new topic, but it's definitely something that we would want to emphasize. As always, we would want to keep it short, so it's up to 45 minutes that we would want to take off your busy calendar. We would want to highlight something concerned with current burdens that happen with the SIM solution, what can be done to change that burden into the positive ways to each and every company. And this topic is really important because the explosion of remote work, like cloud environments, AI-driven threats, traditional monitoring, it's just it doesn't really cut anymore, but seems are the nerve system, the center where you can say that something is going wrong before it becomes catastrophic, and often misunderstood. They are being misunderstood, misconfigured, or maybe even underutilized. We have Leonardo with us today, our beautiful partner, a good friend, a very skilled specialist, and Leonardo joined us for this webinar to bring his experience on the table. Leonardo, maybe a couple of words about yourself, please.
Hello, Andrew. Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I am, as Andrew mentioned, the founder and commercial director of Crypto Systems. We are a security integrator working very recently with together with Andrew. And yes, we believe CM is actually a critical infrastructure in your security environment, and we wanted to have a chat with you guys in order to understand better what are the main challenges that we normally see in the market with this type of platforms, and exchange what are our views of the problems that we see, and probably try to share with you some alternatives of solution to this
Thank
to
you.
this
Thank you.
complex
Yeah,
scenario.
absolutely here with you, Leonardo. Thank you so much. So the goal today is to decode the complexity, help you choose with confidence, and show how the real company is actually getting it right, or maybe sometimes wrong. Well, it depends, of course. Will be helpful for us if you can drop your questions, comments. It's always better for us to uh, lead the conversation in a way that can be helpful and useful for you, first of all. My name is Andrew. I will work as MDR Director with Under Defense, and I'll be helpful to give you just a couple of words about Under Defense before we kick in. And again, I wouldn't want to take a lot of your time, but Under Defense is a top-ranked MDR vendor. We are a cybersecurity provider. Our goal is to make sure the companies stay protected. And what makes us different is that most vendors they throw a lot of tech problems in front of their customers, but we want to bring AI plus skilled tech plus skilled humans to interpret everything. So our SOC analysts, our engineers, our threat hunters, well, they operate at the extension of your team, helping to go beyond just dashboards, beyond everything that goes within the scene, within the detections. We want to help you understand threats and what it actually means to respond to the context. Um, there is a good phrase by the FBI director, and I really want this to be kind of like a motto for our meeting for today. But it always says that companies are being divided into two main types, and companies that have been hacked and companies that will be hacked in future. So our goal is to help you prepare and make sure that we are here to help. Let's have a deep dive into our topic and our conversation. And basically, the idea here is that let's picture this: you have an organization with a massive building, and you have lots of security cameras. Each of these cameras they are connected to each other, but they have a separate monitor, different rooms even maybe. And suddenly something suspicious happens. Well, by the time you figure out which screen it happened on, it's usually too late. And that's what monitoring without SIEM looks like. The modern enterprises, the data is coming from various sources like clouds, EDRs, firewalls, SaaS solutions, OT systems, you name it, whatever it is. But without centralized analysis, you're mostly blind. And the relationship between those logs, they're very crucial. So SIEM gives you the single pane of glass. It shows you the context, it helps to detect anomalies, and you have the timeline that individual tools, one of the tools, can easily miss.
Andrew,
Leonardo,
can I?
of
Yes,
course,
I wanted to tell you that in the field we always see this. Last week I was with a customer, with a prospect, and we were trying to offer him a vulnerability management solution. And the first thing the customer asked us is, Are we going to need another management console for this?" Yes. Guess
absolutely.
what? Yes.
Absolutely. It's just the top of an iceberg. If we jump to the next slide, you'll see that basically the resource problem is something that we need to focus on. It's not only about tool set that you want to invest into, XDRs, EDRs, firewalls, threat intel feeds. Well, it's in a lot of cases also the lack of the stuff that actually can handle those resources. So we are on the verge of trying to figure out where do we actually miss something. And most teams don't only scratch the surface of the problems. They are mostly using like 10, maybe 20% of the features, right, Leonardo? So the tool sets of the tools of the different security tools, they provide a lot of valuable features. But we, in a lot of cases, what we see that customers focus on just a tiny bit of those and try to leverage those. But then you can use a lot of them to help protect, prevent. So the result is that there is a tool overlap. Tools and alerts they pile up. Nobody has time to figure out what the problem is, and that's actually where the burden comes out of. Small teams they're trying to secure hybrid environments. Large teams they're focused on a lot of small, tiny bits of the environment instead of the whole infrastructure. And what really is needed is not another product, though you might want to have all of the applicable products, but also a partner or the team that can orchestrate, prioritize, act first of all. So bringing those tools together, and that's why we also emphasize on having SIEM and MDR tools. Leonardo, is it something that you see across your infrastructure, across your customer base?
Yes, I'm always amused to see customers trying to handle a ton of different solutions with very limited staff, no, which is really challenging. No, we see this all the time. No, so it's a difficult challenge. So yes, trying to find a partner that really can help you in this space, it's critical. Yes.
So let me give you a quick question. Why do you think that SIEM projects fail? What might be the cost, for let's just put the other resources or other problems outside and focus on SIEM. And so why do SIEM projects can fail? What can go wrong?
Well, there are different factors. We will talk about in this many of them in this talk, but mainly what we see is a lack of analysts, lack of experienced analysts, companies trying to manage different all their security stack, sometimes in difficult moments, sometimes in periods of big layouts. No, so it's always difficult. So human resources is always a challenge. Keeping them in house, keeping them trained, it's also a big challenge. And trying to um, 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 make good use of all your platforms is also a strong challenge when you see that most of them are underused.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I also would want to add to this from our experience that CM projects, well, in a lot of cases, SIEMs are just not being deployed in the proper way. And it's rarely a technology fault. Again, due to lack of skilled resources, due to lack of time, sometimes due to lack of priorities, organizations fall into this cost trap. So they invest into premium SIEM platforms, but then they only use, as we mentioned, a small percentage of those functions. On the other part of this, the expertise gap. So SIEM is powerful, but it's very complex. Even experienced engineers sometimes need up to a year or something like this to master all these advanced features and platforms. And during that time, you stay mostly vulnerable. So your SIEM is not optimized. You're possibly blind to some emerging threats. I would also want to emphasize that migration challenge is a big one, especially when you want to move from one vendor to another or when you decided to go with the other solution. And the fear of this downtime or losing visibility during the switch, that means that many companies are locked within one solution. Bad, good, let's not judge at the moment, but they are locked within one solution and they fear to move out of this solution. So understanding
Yes.
these challenges upfront help you kind of be smart, plan a long-term success. Let's
Let's
deep
not
dive.
let's not forget you mentioned it already. Let's not forget that these tools require analysts. These tools require automation, and these tools require orchestration as well. It's an analytics tool, so the proper configuration being done by the proper people, it's critical.
Yeah, let's if I was about to put top three of those, I would probably start with the resources, as Leonardo probably mentioned at the beginning, because resources is something that you want to pay attention to first of all. Running SIEM in house isn't just about buying a license; it's a lot about the people who work with this SIEM. And a truly effective SIEM program, it requires round the clock monitoring, of course. And that means a lot of stuff that needs to work on all shifts, including weekends, nighttime, especially holidays. That's where malicious cycles are most active. And alone, that means that hiring or retaining six, maybe seven experienced analysts is really hard. Now, other hidden costs, you know, ongoing training because attacks evolve, infrastructure to store some massive log volumes, some tools that can analyze those volumes, and then don't forget about the turnover. People come, people go, and that's when a senior engineer leave. That's a problem, and I feel that in a lot of cases that's one of the biggest problems for the companies that have the in-house teams.
I have seen, sorry, I have seen, it really surprised me in the field, not only with CM platforms but with many other platforms, that it's difficult for CISOs to dedicate a lot of resources to training, specifically to training, because they fear that the high turnover, it's a big issue. That they will certify and train their engineers, but don't they are not quite sure that they will keep in house all this expertise for a long time. So it's a big issue.
Right, and I'm curious out of our audience today if you could kind of react with some plus or minus, if that's something that you feel that will also help us understand if we are moving in the right direction. But imagine you're an e-commerce business, for example, and during like some sale period, like Friday, you get 10x traffic, and this 10x telemetry that brings this traffic, and you just can't scale your team fast enough. So you need to make sure that you have this coverage, otherwise you'll be blind, and that's when you're most vulnerable. And that's why many companies realize that hiring the way that they do is not realistic at all. So they look for some technical support, some external resource, and that's okay. I mean, as long as you know what to address, I wouldn't say that there is a big problem to this. Let's move to the other challenge. The next challenge that I would want to highlight would be a technical burden. So I don't know, Leonardo, from your experience, do companies actually have this challenge? Because technical burden, it's not about just deploying and maintaining SIEM, but first of all, it is, of course. It's also about proper configuring ingestion pipelines, writing correlation rules, having the perfect workload so it works fast. And if you're running on hybrid cloud environment, you want to make sure that there is even more headache because of this, and integrating everything from AWS, Azure Cloud, on-prem servers, legacy apps, IoTs. It might be a good challenge. Did you have any feedback from your customers with regards to this as well?
I always love to say our customers and prospects, let's be clear. We need to understand that this is not a monitoring platform. This is an analytics platforms. So that it's a platform that you will constantly be throwing questions to. You will get some answers, and then you will need to make new searches, new correlation rules, um, um, uh, new analysis within the systems to make it better. So yes, it's a living environment. It's a living tool, and you need to have experienced people, not only managing the solution, but making it grow.
Oh yeah, and that's why many teams just underestimate these points. From my experience, I've seen people thinking something like, "We just turn it on, it works, and bring the result." But then within weeks, they're just drowning in logs, in alerts, with no idea what signal versus noise ratio they should have. And that's why
Exactly.
70%, 75% of SIEM deployments actually fail to meet the expectations for the first year. And that's a critical time because you need to present the results to your IT manager, to your C level, to the board of director, and especially if you're, on a scarce budget, and most of us are, right? So that's why we are constantly coming to the third part of the challenges that we face, and this part is very interesting because all of us know Jack the Sparrow, I think, the famous movie character, and this guy is actually helping us with explaining this feature a little bit. But having the alert fatigue is absolutely not what you want to have within your environment. Lots of false positives, increased costs. They can literally tear you apart. So you want to stay ahead of this and focus on everything that helps prevent those. I would say that you need to remember that from the beginning, when you have out of the box SIM solution, about 95% of your alerts, they are false positives. And that means that speed is not your strength anymore. You are chasing ghosts, alerts that are serious, they aren't on top of your list. And over time, it's just causing your team to burn out, and it's just not something that you want to have. The most famous example in this case would be something like a, let's say, target breach, for example. They had this their SIEM, they detect the malicious activity, but the alerts was just buried in a flood of all this low priority noise, and as a result, they lost millions in their revenue just because of this major reputational hit.
That's why I wanted to share some statistics that you well know. I love it, by the way. I love your security analyst here. That's why the tuning of the platform is critical. This magnificent tool, which is the main tool in your security stack, it's the brain of your security stack, needs a lot of time in terms of tuning. So, and tuning for false positives can take you more than 10 hours a week. Only that. Just writing a correlation rule can take you up to 3 hours to an experienced engineer. So if you start to understand these numbers, you kind of understand that you need to take serious the tuning and the proper configuration of your CM in order to work as it should.
I've heard a good thought, a good idea. AI can write everything and it doesn't take 3 hours. I always say, take a chance, give AI a chance, try to fine tune your scene using AI only, and let's talk in a week. I mean, it's a very good tool, and other defense uses AI to help fine tune procedures, but relying on this technology solely is not something that you would want to do. And that's why Leonardo highlighted well enough that it takes time. It takes some analyst work to rethink, to fine tune, to implement, and make sure that you have a right priorities, that your correlation logic, that your filtering is working well. You do
And
not need.
the real experts know that you need to have, of course, your tools. The best practice is you have your tools properly configured, working automatic. Any automatic is the help. It's well fitted, but you also need the human factor.
Right, right. So let's speak about security controls, the cost of the security controls, and their effectiveness. It's really easy to get lost. There is so many tools, SIEM, EDR, XDR, implementing MFA, POM, WAF. Well, I mean, this visual actually help you prioritize and bring what's worth fighting for in your budget because budgets are scarce, right? Think of it like a triage. If you can't fund everything, obviously we can. Fund what buys you most visibility and the fastest response. And we see that SIEM is actually one of the tools that is one of the most effective one. On the other hand, it is expensive, right? And you can bring down this cost in a couple of ways. And we can always discuss this by implementing some best practices, by using community guides, by actually hiring a skilled team of professionals who can do this on your behalf. Another insight that I wanted to share with you here is the compounding effect, because controls like, let's say, vulnerability scanning and SIEM solution, they amplify each other, or EDR and SIEM. And if your SIEM can see vulnerabilities and correlate those with some active threats, you move from the reactive defense to the proactive risk mitigation. So that's what it's really important. It's not about buying everything, and we've seen this on one of the first pages of one of the first slides. It's about using those effectively. Leonardo, from your experience, what tools would you recommend customers to have first of all? I mean, I know that everything depends on the infrastructure, on the goals, but there is some basic ones and the ones that are most important. So, which one would you want to highlight?
I really love this graph because it's so rich in information, because it shows you the effectiveness regarding costs of different security solutions, and probably you will sleep better if you know that you did a good choice when you decided to implement an DDR and to go forward with your vulnerability scanning solution, because those are very effective, not that expensive, and very effective. No, but also this graph doesn't make doesn't stress enough the importance of the SIEM. Let's not forget the SIEM is actually the platform that coordinates and handles and helps you operate your security stack. And also, you can, let's not forget that you can add to your analytics platform your business operation information as well. So yes, I see customers putting attention in the field to the EDR, putting attention to identity projects, vulnerabilities, scanning and patching projects. Those are for me one some of the most solutions that you will need to have, and if you have already those solutions in place, probably it's time for you to think about a CM solution.
Yeah, I was just about to say that because we're here on this webinar on SIEM, we would want to emphasize on the need of SIEM solution. And let's then skip to the successful part. When do we feel that the SIEM is successful? I would want to say that there is a breakdown of what you need or what you want to achieve with this SIM solution. And first of all, it has to be your cornerstone for the security operations center or security team overall. Think of it as a cockpit for security team, or instead of jumping across different tabs, instead of using different correlated alerts or events, they have everything in one place. They have this enriched context. They have uh, they have the ability to see the difference between knowing that something weird is going on the server and actually understanding that this was the attempt to perform credential attack, and it's tied to a known APT actor. You know, the response speed is just increasing enormously, and that helps companies a lot. Second one, and very important one as well, would be the compliance. A lot of companies go after SIEM to achieve compliance. So having this auto-generated reports help you to receive PCID, SSIs, or whatever you want. So the good SIEM doesn't just store data; it's structured in a way that you can instantly generate the report. You have the timeline, evidence. I mean, it helps a lot. Now, SIEM is not only a security tool, right? So Leonardo, modern SIEMs are all about giving you answers to different questions. So I love these expressions that say that SIEM is like a big data platform. So you want to have working dashboards that provide information to your C-level, finance, IT deck, whoever needs questions, whoever needs answers to the question based on their work. SIEM can help you with this. So let's just emphasize that ROI in this case is something that you want to get as soon as possible. And I mean, I would briefly want to give you an overview how Honor Defense addresses this problem. Just one slide, 1 minute or less. But you want to make sure that you have all the information within a SIEM solution. Information.
Just let me stress one point that I think it's really important what you're saying here, Andrew, because this platform, because it's an analytics platform and can help you deal with your security issues, but also can help you just analyze some business operation information. I always stress to the customers in the field, don't forget, of course, to start putting your security stack into your CM, but also consider to put your business operation information as well. This will help you sell better inside your CM project. It will engage management into this specific project. They will see this platform not as a cost expense, not as a cost, but as an investment. You will be able to give business answers to your corporate structure, not only operational answers. That's very important.
Agree. And I've wanted to touch really fast how Honor Defense addresses the SIEM deployment, SIEM fine tuning. We want to make sure that we have all the visibility within the SIEM solution. So that means that you want to bring as much information from various sources as possible into your SIEM. But please note, you do not want to have your SIEM as the you know pile of information as the garbage, because garbage in, garbage out, and that means that you want your team to have only the precise and valuable information. Make sure that you have this. If you feel there is any vulnerability gaps, just add data sources, add some visibility, and that helps a lot. Again, I wouldn't want to stop on this a lot because we still have a lot of topics to cover, especially something about modern SIEM solutions, which are not better or worse. So let's move to the next slide, please. And again, emphasizing what is important or how much is important to actually fine tune your SIEM solution. Out of the box, SIEM does not bring you enough results. So please invest into customizing, making sure it works and aligned to your goals. Let's move to the next slide. I will just briefly show you the implementation phases, just for your understanding, because it's important. It's not something that you put a couple of checkboxes within the same solution and it starts working. You have the whole process of a discovery, preparation. You have the installation workshop where you need to figure out a lot of points that are very important. Now, you want to make sure that you have the choices that you do depend on the maturity and your risk appetite. So you need to coverage to have a fast coverage, and this helps you to utilize limited internal resources in the most effective way. So make sure that you have this, and don't forget about training and integrations, because integrations at this moment help to achieve a SIEM solution of a next level. That helps a lot. Customization is not technical. It's not just technical. It's strategic decisions. So align your detection logic with your specific risks. Make sure your data exfiltration, for example, from R&D level movement in OT networks, are being detected, and customize those. It's not just a generic threat that you want to chase. Leonardo, do you think that we need to add to this, or would you rather move to the SIEM solution implementation modes? What do you think would be most appropriate for our audience today?
I love this slide because you are perfectly right. You need a perfect procedure in order to do this implementation. You said it well. You need to have your processes in place. You need to have your security posture in place. Otherwise, garbage in, garbage out. You said it well. Fantastic.
Good. So, open source SIEM, Leonardo, or the
Hmm.
commercial one? What would you prefer?
I think we need to change the next slide. I think it's not. I will have my own preferences. I'm more of a business guy than a technical guy. So I always used to say to my customers, okay, if you want a vendor that will give you a lot of new features every year, then probably you will go to a commercial one. But we need to understand that you will be forced to you will probably have limited flexibility. But if you're an organization with a strong technical team and want to have full control of your platform, probably the open source it's a platform for you. Not properly open source, but the commercial versions of course. But let's not forget. Probably many people think that if you move to Elastic solution, for example, you will save a lot of money. But we are stressing here that the most important feature of your CM is your team and the time you spend configuring your platform. So that means a long ramp up, whether you go to with an open source solution or with a commercial CM. So it's not one solution fits for everybody. No.
Oh, you're perfectly right. I would want to ask our audience to drop us the feedback if you guys are using the open source one or the commercial one, just to help us understand which one is most favorable, at least in our case. From my experience, commercial SIEM brings you speed. You have fast deployment, you have all the tool set and features ready in a predictable time manner. Let's call it this way, because different teams define different onboarding time, but let's say the predictable time versus open source teams. Sometimes you just need to invest a lot of time and resources. On the other hand, open source give you a lot of freedom, and the freedom with the power. Let's call it this way, because you can customize it and make it work in the way you want it. You remember I also emphasized that there is a trick here, because once you have this on-prem, for example, open source SIEM, and your lead engineer quits, sometimes passing the knowledge is very crucial. And in this case, your SIEM can fail at this exact moment. And just think about it, how often that happens to your company, that people come and leave. From my experience, it happens a lot, and we just want to make sure there is a no buzz factor in this case. I'm not chasing for commercial SIEMs at the moment. My goal is to have a clear visibility within the security data and security tool set. And if it's an open source SIEM that brings you this visibility and this flexibility, that's perfectly fine. If it's a commercial one, go ahead, use a commercial one, but just try to put those pros and cons to each solutions before you do this decision, because you can get into the vendor lock, right? That one that we discussed previously.
And I think you need also a lot of support from your vendors or consultants or whoever is helping you with this uh, in order to properly size your phase one, the phase one of your project. And what is the because when I hear this, I always think of vendors, sorry, customers saying, okay, yes, but I'm worried about this because the data that I want to ingest, it's a lot, so it's going to be expensive. So having help from your partner, identifying the critical data that you need to ingest to your CM, I think it's critical in this stage.
Absolutely, and start with putting your goals in front of you. Understand what you want to achieve with this SIM solution. Remember, either clear visibility for the SOC team, or maybe compliance, or maybe the dashboards. My goal is to make sure that you guys have all three of those. It's not effective to have only one, but start with something at least. Start with at least something that is mostly that is top of your priority list. Leonardo, a little bit of a tricky question to you, but what are the most popular commercial themes within your audience, within your clients?
Okay, well, that's a tricky
Did,
question because we are a
did I
partner of Splunk,
did I guess
and,
the
and
one on the slide
but
or not?
to be totally honest with you, we have a love and hate relationship with specifically with this vendor because it's a fantastic platform, but also it's a difficult vendor to work with. But it's we see all of them. We see many customers here in our region with Splunk. We see customers with Elastics. We see a few less with the IBM platform. Um I I don't. To be honest with you, a few years ago, I was very keen to the commercial platforms. In these days, I'm not a technical guy, but I'm not that keen that keen to the commercial ones.
Yeah, I brought up the most popular ones within our database, within our customer base. Splunk and Elastic have been the most popular ones. Curator is, I would say, it constantly loses its favor due to various reasons.
It's IBM.
Right, but it's IBM.
It's
You
IBM.
can always, depending on how you want to pronounce this.
That's a good and a bad argument. It's IBM.
So we mentioned that it's not about the brand. It's not about the, I guess, the technology, the specific technology that you want to pursue. It's more on the challenges that you face with those. For example, with Splunk, a lot of customers notice that it has high cost. Some say it has complex pricing, but from my standpoint, it's very easy and
It's
strict.
very, but it's high.
It is. But again, it's depending on your needs because if you want to cover all three pillars and plus add some technology integrations, do some basic response, Splunk is something that helps you with this.
Yes,
The best visuals that I've seen was within Splunk, and it gives my engineers the best flexibility to draft whatever any customer that we have need. On the other hand,
let's not forget. I'm sorry. Let's not forget that this is a vendor that has been doing only that for since the beginning. Many other vendors have been buying different solutions around this space and trying to invest on them and integrate them to their portfolio. But in this case, let's not forget that that's why Splunk is actually a strong leader in the Magic Quadrant of Gartner. It's because they are doing a very good work, uh, um, investing a lot in new features every year. So it's to be honest with you, it's a very strong vendor in this sector.
I'm here with you. Under Defense is a premier partner of Splunk, and we love this solution. Though we work with 8 other vendors at the same time, because we want to make sure that it's not the technology stack that brings you the value. It's about the combination of people, processes, and technology that help you to achieve those effective incident response actions.
And
But
automation. Mhm.
automation, right? So let's move swiftly to Elastic, for example. It's getting a lot of leadership positions at the moment due to its cloud native deployment. So you can have this solution in a matter of days or even hours up and running. Easy integrations there. I think they are given a really hard time to Splunk at the moment. A lot of customers switch to this solution at the moment as well, with some pros and cons. For example, if you would want to go with your on-prem deployment, it has a very complex maintenance, and a lot of people just, cancel this solution in front of them because it's just too hard to handle it. But if you go with a cloud one, for example, you just get rid of this hassle instantly. Now, it has some stability issues once in a while. I cannot say it's constant, but it happens. It happens with each and every technology. So we should be fair. It's not the real disadvantage of this solution.
But if you have a technology team in place or you have a strong technical partner with you, probably this is a solution that you need to take a good look.
Absolutely. We also put here Curator, as I mentioned, because across our customer base, it's still very popular. But I would say that IBM need to invest a lot into this solution if they want to keep this in top of Gartner. And I've seen constantly Curator losing positions in a number of years, and it just seems that I would say that I'm very favorite for the solution, and I would want this to leave. I wouldn't want this solution to to disappear from our market. So just asking out everyone who's probably watching us and have any type of chance to influence this decision, make sure that it works fine. Now, Leonardo, let me ask you a quick question again, and let's move to the next slide. How do you guys manage your SIM solution? So across your customer base, is it in-house? Is it the outside team? Is it a hybrid mode? What do you hear from your customer base?
Mainly the financial sector fellows prefer to have an in-house solution. Uh, and outside that space, many people is actually trying to find a managed solution, not only for the CM but for the whole security stack. Yes, this is something that it's from the customer point of view, it's fantastic because you have full visibility of your costs. No, you have one partner that is giving you the whole solution. That is very comfortable for a CISO. It's predictable. No, if you have a strong technical partner, you have like a two arms outside your organization helping you with all this. No, so I have seen in the field many customers trying to get help from outside service providers, and probably because what we are talking also here, the human resources problem, that it's a global problem. Okay, so this is an alternative that we see all the time.
I will just briefly explain all the three modes in a second. We have about 3 minutes till the end of our webinar today. So if anyone have questions, comments, please drop them. We'll try to cover them as we go. So basically, we see that, as Leonardo mentioned, self-managed is very favorable for a lot of customers due to compliance, due to some old availability of resources, or maybe some internal policies that you need to follow. Uh, it's a good one. I would say that having the self-managed gives a lot of benefits and advantages, especially when you want to be in control of your team, first of all. Co-managed is something where you have an external team helping you out, but you still have your internal team that is staying in charge of this. So basically, they are taking the final decision, but you have someone helping out, some a provider that fills in the critical spots, and so in this way they help you to achieve the goals in a faster way. Because all these modes, they are first of all about the speed of implementation. It's about the quality of implementation. I would also emphasize that on defense is offering a lot of fully managed services to our clients, and the benefits here are first of all because we are facing different problems with different clients and different setups, and this gives us a holistic view into different situation that happens. While at the same time, your team might not have the same experience because they are mostly working with only one stack. So having this additional knowledge, having these additional insights from various setups, give us kind of a upper hand in this case. We also have enough skilled resources to help you with automation, with help with fine tuning tools. And remember, it's very important to make sure that your SIEM is working the way you want to work. It brings you the exact result that you would want your teams to have, and that's what the provider like Under Defense can help with. You do not kind of throw all the problems to the provider side. It's just that two teams are working together to achieve the results needed. And that's the most positive and the most valuable thing within this corporation that might happen. So I really would want to say thank you to everyone who attended. So I want to make sure that we covered most of the topics that we wanted to cover. It was fast, I know. I know it was in some cases very high level, but we wanted to keep this the most informative possible. So I encourage you to join our LinkedIn's, contact Leonardo or myself if you have any questions, and we'll be more than happy to to bring in the insights and the results. Um, so the question that we have: how can organizations effectively evaluate SIEMs, and if they don't have internal SOC or if they don't have specific expertise yet? Leonardo, what do you think about it?
Um, reach to us. Of course, we're always here to help you. What we always try to do is to um, uh, make a tailored solution for every single customer. So we need to understand what do you have in terms of infrastructure, in terms of security solutions, in terms of budget, in terms of expertise. So reach, get some help, reach us, and we'll be glad to help.
From my standpoint, make sure that your SIEM is doing the job that it was designed to do. That's the definition of successful implementation. So if you want your SIEM to be a GRC tool, go ahead, test if it's working fine. If it's a SOC team tool, then make sure that it has enough detections and rules and correlations that help you triage and find threats in a matter of minutes, seconds. It's even better. Make sure it has a complex purpose, and that's why you can check if your SIEM is working fine. So make sure first of all that you need why your SIEM is being implemented, and then make sure that you understand what results it brings. That's probably the easiest way to explain this. Thanks all. Let's stay in touch. It was a pleasure having you today. It's Friday, so have a good weekend to all of our folks who weekends off. For all Security Operations Center members, guys, hopefully this weekend it will be easy and stay safe. Thank you so much. Thank you, Leonardo, by the way. It was my pleasure to welcome you to this type of events with Under Defense, and I'm looking forward to having you on some new events in the near future.
No, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to everybody.